Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today we're going to cover a little bit breaking news about one of the most famous EMIs. I'm going to get into a little bit of a review for you of that quite famous EMI, give you my impressions about them, whether you should use them for banking, both for personal and for business, and we're going to go from there. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Make sure not to miss out on any of our videos. We produce or try to produce great content for you every single day. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends. If you don't, please tell me why in the comments below. And if you want help with international corporate structuring, international living, where to go, what kind of structure to build, as well as help with actually building it, forming companies, opening bank accounts, residencies, citizenships, etc., please reach out to me. You can book a call, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer. There's a link in the description below. Check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. You can send us a message there. All right. So the business that we're going to talk about today is Revolut. So Revolut is, I've done TransferWise before, a previous kind of a review on that. They just changed their name to Wise. And probably next to them, one of the best known is Revolut. Okay, Revolut is a European-based EMI, and they just announced today kind of this breaking news, or at least I got an email about it today or yesterday, that they are pulling out of Canada. Okay, so they'd been expanding to a bunch of different parts of the world. They're kind of trying to go into the US, into Canada, into Singapore, etc. And they said, that's it, we're not going to be in Canada. Which is disappointing because Revolut actually has a pretty great service. Okay, there are some people who are often concerned about EMIs, as they've come to known, electronic money institutions, sometimes called neobanks or things like this. But I think that it's not really fair to clump them all in the same category. And I think that for the market as a whole, there's a massive, massive benefit to having these institutions because banking has frankly become so awful. It's just really, really bad. It's expensive. It's difficult to get approvals. They'll shut you down. All this kind of stuff, right? There's a lot of problems, probably centered in Europe, but in a bunch of areas as well. So that being said, Revolut has come along and they offered a great service across a lot of Europe. They were one of the early ones to offer the ability to get like 20 virtual cards produced per month, which was fantastic. You could issue all these cards. Excellent, wonderful. They had or have very low fees, very fast, easy transfers, kind of a lot like TransferWise. So what do I think about them? I think they're great when you can use them. So they're, one of the concerns for a lot of people is these types of businesses tend to fall into two categories. One are, hey, we're appealing to high risk, right? And there's a bunch of those, which, by the way, are important because otherwise high risk businesses couldn't bank. Then there's these other ones which are, hey, listen, we're trying to avoid high risk and just deal with the majority of the clients who are being mistreated by banks. And my guess in the case of Canada is Canada's kind of an oligopoly country. It's got these kind of corporate cartels. Not a good thing. I don't think that, it's just not something to be proud of from the perspective of Canada. Canada should work on changing this. But for example, there's basically 5 big banks and they're very stable, they're very established, and I think they're just good at keeping competitors out. You see the same thing in the telephone industry. You have basically 3 big cell phone providers and the prices are not competitive. It's probably the most expensive in the world. They just announced that Rogers is buying Shaw, which is like one of the 2 big internet providers is buying the other one. So competition goes down, probably prices are going up. It's not good, right? And so I suspect that's part of what plays in there. Oh, the airline industry, they do the same thing. They basically protect these corporate welfare programs. It's terrible. Okay, so, but that being said, Revolut, great service. Okay, if you can get it, Revolut is a fantastic service. Now, they tend to have some restrictions. For example, although they're actually pretty good for coverage of countries within Europe, if you're a foreign owner of a European company, typically you can't get a Revolut account. So it's particularly applicable to people who are actually residents of Europe. And frankly, they brought banking, like good quality banking, to places that was not available before. They have, okay, so let's go through. Multi-currency accounts, great. Super fast, easy transactions, including they'll have like this search lookup thing. So when you're punching in where you're going to send it to, it retrieves a whole bunch of the information for you, which is also great. If you're transferring between other users on Revolut, they make it super easy, which TransferWise does not. So that's fantastic. We like that a lot. Then if you're in a situation where you want to do foreign currency conversions, it's pretty good rates. You, like I said, can get these cards. You can get lots of prepaid cards, including lots of virtual cards. That's amazing, fantastic. Yeah, they're just a generally good, easy to use bank, provided that you meet their criteria. Now, their criteria is quite risk averse. Their criteria is one where, you know, if you're just like a typical low risk business that's doing, you know, probably fairly low volume, then fantastic. If you're a huge business, right, you're doing, I don't know, you're in the decamillions a year, I don't know if that's really the right option for you, right? But what I would say is if you're in the EU, absolutely, I would get them. I wouldn't rely on them as your only option, because there is a reasonable chance that, you know, if you do something weird, they're going to come along and say, hey, this is an issue. They did try and embrace crypto fairly early on, but it was a terrible offering. Basically, you could buy crypto through them, but it was like, you know, in their little walled garden. Not a good way to go. So not an appealing product, but definitely a great institution if you can use them like for what it is that they do. Not so great for kind of broad international coverage, but you know, within that confine, yeah, they're good. So that's my quick thing. I guess the last thing that people would ask is they would say, are they safe? And I've done some videos previously about, you know, how much you can trust EMIs, etc. I think that generally the degree of skepticism around EMIs and the safety of your money is probably too high now. There was a period of time when a lot of smaller banks were quite unstable and concerning. I would say that generally speaking, things have improved, partially because there's a lot of venture capital that's come in, and there's like a lot of legitimate projects. So TransferWise is one of them. Revolut is definitely another. Like, it's well venture backed. I'm not concerned at all that you're going to have your money stolen or something like that. Your biggest concern in that sense is that if your account gets shut down, the amount of time and effort that it may take to have the money pulled out of the account could be an issue. So anyway, hope that helps. Tell me what you guys think. Have you used Revolut? Do you like them? Put it in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Share it with other people. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.